watching ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
Welcome back to Jacksonville. Set for the start of the second half of the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. A first quarter dominated by Northwestern as they got 3 takeaways and jumped out to a 13-0 lead, but a second quarter controlled by Mississippi State. And a turnaround for Tyler Russell. 10 unanswered points before halftime for the Bulldogs to make it a 3-point game as we start the second half. And Northwestern fans are tired of hearing about it. They might be tired of hearing those as well. A lot of cowbells in the second quarter.
You know,
but the Northwestern Wildcats trying to break a 9-bowl losing streak that dates all the way back to their last win in 1949 in the Rose Bowl. Backpedaling is Venrick Markin about the 3-yard line. And without much momentum on the kickoff return, only gets out to the 18. Bob Wischusen, Danny Cannell, Allison Williams here in Jacksonville. It was really a story of 2 quarters. The first quarter owned by Northwestern and the second owned by Mississippi State.
It really was. Remember we were talking about Northwestern. They came out with great energy, great intensity, and I said, hey, this is a long game. They're going to have to kind of pace themselves a little bit. Well, they got a little lethargic in the second quarter. And conversely, Mississippi State, they came out a little flat. Then they caught some momentum, were able to put that in a bottle and get some points on the board. I think it's going to be whichever team can kind of get that intensity level back up, make a couple plays. Whichever team's able to do that first, we'll have to see.
Kane Coulter with a cutback and scoots out to about the 22-yard line or so for a gain of 4. Danico Autry tripped him up. And let's check in with Allison.
Bob, I talked to Northwestern's Pat Fitzgerald, and he said exactly what you guys did. They played well in the first quarter. They did not in the second. He said that was because of protection. They did not block well at the point of attack, and they didn't get rid of the ball fast enough. He told his guys, look, it was a 12-man breakdown between us, the players, and the coaches. He said, we need to seize the momentum right now, and he told them, if you come back in this locker room with a 3-point lead, you'll make history.
That's certainly what Northwestern's trying to do. High throw, almost intercepted. Jay Hughes had it right in his hands as Coulter had that one float. And now it's 3rd down and 7 as we take a look at some of our first half numbers. And really, Danny, the numbers outside of turnovers came away somewhat even, brought to you by Farmers.
Mississippi State was finally in the second quarter able to get Ladarius Perkins going. For Northwestern offensively, since the first couple of drives, they have not been able to move the ball at all against the Bulldogs.
Jonathan Banks went out with a knee laceration in the first half. He has not returned yet. It's Corey Broomfield sliding over to his spot at left corner. And now Coulter delivers a strike for a first down to the 31-yard line. Accurate throw by Kane Coulter. Christian Jones went down to his knees to scoop it up, and it's a gain of 10.
Allison said they need to make quicker decisions. That's what Pat Fitzgerald said. Watch the quick release. Coulter gets it out. Receiver Christian Jones knows exactly where he is, knows he's got the first down, secures the catch.
Down the sideline, long throw, intercepted, picked up by Nico Whitley. It's amazing. These are 2 teams that don't turn the ball over, and yet that has been all either offense has done so far today.
Nico Whitley, watch his reaction. He sees this ball coming from a mile away. Look, this is route recognition, makes a beeline for there. And then the spectacular interception. Looked like a wide receiver going up there. Pretty impressive from Nico Whitley.
Back to the offense, Mississippi State. Dancing behind the line is Ladarius Perkins, and he picks up close to 4 yards. Sean McEvely made the stop. Northwestern came into today as one of 9 teams in FBS with 4 or fewer interceptions. They've turned it over twice. Tyler Russell came into today having thrown 6 interceptions the entire season. He threw 3 in the first half. So we have 5 combined turnovers for 2 teams that were a plus 30 combined coming into today in the giveaway takeaway ratio.
Very uncharacteristic.
Let's go down to Allison.
Guys, turnovers, forcing turnovers, a huge point of emphasis for this Mississippi State defense. So when they get one, they come right over to the whiteboard and write down their number. You can see Nico Whitley did that after he came up with that big INT. It's the get the ball board. It's a constant point of emphasis for Mississippi State.
Well, it works. They were plus 17, tied for 5th best in the country coming into today. And now they're looking to either tie or take the lead on this drive. 3rd down and 1. Dak Prescott in at quarterback, and just a straight quarterback power run up the middle for a 1st down. That's the first 3rd down conversion of the day for the Bulldogs.
And now they're starting to really take over the trenches. That offensive line really starting to move around the Northwestern defensive line. And Pat Fitzgerald, Northwestern's head coach, he talked to us yesterday. He said, you know, hey, we are outsized, we're outmanned up front, but we feel like our speed and quickness can compensate for that. But it worked in the 1st quarter, but not so much here lately. Mississippi State definitely figuring out some things, getting some movement up front.
Prescott, quarterback draw again. Makes a move and almost broke it all the way. Down to the 25-yard line for a gain of 12 and another Bulldog 1st down.
Watch the center, Dylan Day. Watch his block up front. See Prescott just kind of take it back. Gets that lead blockers out front. Those are huge holes they're starting to see from Mississippi State, whoever's running the football.
Jared Carpenter was lucky to get enough of Dak Prescott to avoid a touchdown run. Low throw, and that obviously not the specialty for Dak Prescott. It's an incomplete pass. Bumpus the intended receiver. And now on 2nd down and 10, they'll have to put Tyler Russell back in at quarterback. They're going to leave Russell on the sideline. He was popping his helmet back on as if he was going to check back in, but it's going to be Prescott to stay in the huddle on 2nd down and 10. The redshirt freshman with 4 passing touchdowns and 4 rushing touchdowns this season.
He brings that added dimension of a run threat back there, which is so tough for defenses to defend.
The read option, I would say that was read by Chance Carter. Check that. Quentin Williams came through and did a terrific job to blow that play up for a loss of 5.
Here he comes right there, Quentin Williams. Right there, blows it up, gets right to the point of attack before they even have a chance to get the zone read read.
So now it's Tyler Russell back in on 3rd down and 15. Blitz coming. Russell over the middle, behind his intended receiver. And incomplete. Wanted Chris Smith in the middle of the field. Well, now it's 4th down and 15.
We'll see that.
Well, obviously you can't go for it, I would think, on 4th down and 15, but this is a long field goal attempt if you try it from here.
But that's why that pass, that little completion right there has to be made. You've got to lead that out in front because it probably wouldn't have got the 1st down, but it would have made this a much easier attempt for your field goal kicker.
This is Devin Bell trying one from 47 yards out. This would equal his season long. The true freshman, 13 of 20 on the season. If it has the distance, he's got it, and it does. The true freshman right down the middle, equaling his season high and tying the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. This is not a bad day to have the Watch ESPN app fired up. College football on New Year's Day, and this is the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. Of course, you've got bowl games all day and into the evening on our ESPN networks. And we're now tied here in Jacksonville at 13. Henrik Mark from the 5-yard line for Northwestern. Spun down at the 24. Two teams that were both within a win of possibly playing for the national championship will square off. And arguably, outside of the BCS title game, the most highly anticipated bowl game of the season. It'll be number 4 Oregon and number 5 Kansas State in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. That comes your way on Thursday at 8 on ESPN, also live on the Watch ESPN app. And Danny Cannell, some conflicting styles there. That's a really interesting matchup.
Kansas State more workmanlike, tough, hard-nosed, and then Oregon, they're flashy, high-powered offense. Should be a fun game.
Back to Trevor Siemian now at quarterback for Northwestern. At their own 24-yard line. 5-man rush. Siemian tried to slip one into the right flat to Venrick Mark, and it didn't seem as if Venrick Mark saw the football coming. Now, obviously, we'll bounce back and forth if you're Northwestern between the two quarterbacks, but Allison, Kane Coulter might be shaken up.
As we're looking at his wrist, he was kind of holding it and flexing it. They've retaped it, but he remains on the sidelines.
And so it's not unusual, obviously, for Trevor Siemian to play, but this might be as much due to Kane Coulter being injured as it has to do with the normal plan of having Siemian in there at quarterback. 2nd down and 10. Again, a 5-man rush. Siemian over the middle, and that one went right through the hands of Dan Vitale.
Yeah, Northwestern has struggled tremendously since their fast start offensively. Here's a look at their last 5 drives. Now, they had 2 field goals on their first ones, but 3 punts and 2 interceptions. That's not exactly a recipe for success right there. And here they are with another 3rd and long situation where Mississippi State now can start to tee off, where they know Trevor Siemian's going to be sitting in the pocket. Before, they at least had to respect Kane Coulter to run the football. Now they can kind of get after that pocket.
Play clock down to 6 through the cowbells. Siemian's trying to get the play off. It's down to 1. They get the snap off. Here comes a blitz. Siemian flushed out of the pocket. Slings it up the sideline, and coming back to make the catch is Rashad Lawrence. And he picks up the 1st down.
Wow, how about Trevor Siemian? Not the most elusive of quarterbacks, but great job getting outside the pocket, just finding some way to get that ball down the field to Rashad Lawrence. That is a huge confidence builder for Northwestern when they need it right now.
Only a 2-man rush this time, and in stride, it's Demetrius Fields. Siemian had completed only 1 of his last 7 attempts before those 2 back-to-back completions. A 3rd and 10 conversion, followed by a 27-yard strike to Fields.
You got to remember, too, he spends a lot of time on the bench, so now he's able to get some rhythm going.
Now he wants the home run ball for Vitale. He's got it. Reaches for the end zone. And he'll be marked down at about the 2. 1st and goal at the 3 for Northwestern. What a turnaround from 3rd down and 10.
How about Dan Vitale running down the field, straight vertical, ball's a little bit behind him, goes back and gets it. This is a true freshman that has had a spectacular year. We saw him against Michigan State. He had 9 catches for 110 yards. Gonna have a great career at Northwestern.
Tyrus Jones right up the middle, end zone, touchdown, Wildcats, and they've got the lead back. It's like they saw the Danny Cannell drive graphic.
That's right.
And got angry.
Well, finally, they were able to catch some momentum, get a little bit of rhythm going to their pass game, and they started to move the ball down the field. They've gotten much more conservative in that 2nd quarter. That was a 6-play drive for 76 yards. A great counterpunch by Northwestern.
The Bulldogs side of the stadium is stunned. They were on their feet, ringing their cowbells on 3rd down and 10. And 3 big completions from Trevor Siemian, setting Northwestern up on the doorstep, and they convert. Tyrus Jones, the former walk-on, with a bold touchdown.
TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl is brought to you by TaxSlayer.com. File your federal return for only $9.95 with TaxSlayer.com. Florida's historic coast, St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra, and the beaches. The Venture Card from Capital One. Earn double miles you can actually use. And the 2013 Chevrolet Silverado. Working hard on and off the field.
Yesterday, rolling through downtown Jacksonville in grand style, the Gator Bowl Parade, part of any great bowl game tradition. Here at the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl, both schools' bands had a little battle of the bands. And now the battle on the field between Northwestern and Mississippi State. The latest advantage to the Wildcats as they're up by a touchdown again. Here's Damian Lewis. Tricked up inside the 15. Shoestring tackle made by C.J. Bryant, and a great one on special teams. The BCS on ESPN is available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app. So now with Pat Fitzgerald's team taking the lead back on the scoreboard and certainly taking field position back. Tyler Russell and Mississippi State from inside their own 15. Start on the ground with Josh Robinson. And he's got a first down carry, a gain of 11 out to the 24.
Mississippi State continues to dominate up front. That offensive line really creating some huge holes for the run game. Left guard Gabe Jackson, their left tackle Blaine Causell, really doing a nice job.
The Bulldogs average 140.7 yards per game on the ground. That was 11th in the SEC. They've got 171 already today, and they'll keep it on the ground with Robinson. And he'll get more. About 8 more. Out of bounds at the 32.
And even that time, you see Josh Robinson, Ladarius Perkins right there on the run. Just breaking those extra tackles towards the end of that carry. Northwestern needs to get a little bit more aggressive. Pat Fitzgerald talked to us about emphasizing to get up there, running through the tackles, and they're not doing that right now. And you've got to against these bigger physical backs.
That was Perkins. He stays in the game. 2nd down and 2. Designed rollout for Russell. Has to throw it away. Chased by Tyler Scott. And that brings up 3rd down and 2. Mississippi State is 1 for 6 on 3rd down.
And now this is where you'd expect them to put this on their offensive line, who has been doing a great job in the 2nd and 3rd quarter, creating some holes.
Perkins has nowhere to go. He lost 1.5 yards. David Wabusi and a host of Northwestern tacklers were there to bring him down back at the 31-yard line, and it's 4th down and 3.
And finally, a nice job by Northwestern, using a little bit of that speed to their advantage, just knifing through there, getting through the gaps. Damian Proby, Wabusi, both getting in the backfield. A nice tackle for a loss there. Northwestern needed that stop. Get their defense off the field.
So it's Baker Swedenberg to punt, and this has been a strength of Mississippi State all season. They're number 1 in the country in opponent's punt return average. And Swedenberg launches one, forcing Venrick Mark into a fair catch back inside his own 25-yard line over his shoulder. That's a big change of field position. The beaches here in Jacksonville, it's a nice time of year to sit out there on a lounge chair. And if you really squint about 300 yards down the beach there, these pictures were taken yesterday, you can see Danny Cannell doing no work. While we were at our meetings, he had his feet up. It was embarrassing.
I was down at Atlantic Beach with some family members last night for New Year's Eve. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, the last game of the year, you mailed it in, let's be honest. Trevor Siemian throws it underneath to Venrick Mark. He picks up about 2 yards with Northwestern back on top, and we check in with Robert Flores.
All right, Bob, update on the Outback Bowl, South Carolina and Michigan on ESPN. Dylan Thomas to Nick Jones. It goes 70 yards. The drive then completed a play later when Thomas finds Ace Sanders, who has a couple of touchdowns. 21-10, South Carolina.
Well, we nearly had a tie game. Woo. As Fernando Bohanna had a chance to jump in front of a Trevor Siemian pass, and that would have been a pick 6 if he could have held on.
Well, Trevor Siemian's been finding a nice rhythm, been getting the ball out quick. But watch number 52. Fernando Bohanna steps in front of that, and he would have hit his head on the goalpost if he would have caught that pass.
Now, the last drive for Northwestern was really triggered by a big third down conversion to start it. Here's another chance for Trevor Siemian. 3rd and 8. Here comes the rush. He looks for the big, deep pass down the sideline. Then it turns into an easy interception. 2nd of the game for Nico Whitley. And a flag comes out late.
Well, now, with that flag, this is almost the same as a good punt for Northwestern. But I'll tell you what, Nico Whitley at that safety position does an outstanding job playing that center field role. Just kind of manning the deep zone. That time again, he was all over that route. Trevor Siemian lofted it up, and he went and tracked it down.
The 6th turnover of the day. And Dan Mullen, I think, realizes that this is a major change of field position at the very least. And you're right, Danny, it really has the force and effect of a punt. Just a down earlier.
Watch him. He's just back here. He's going to patrol center field, so to speak. He's sitting back there. He's got plenty of depth. Goes back and just tracks down that ball. That's a gift right there.
Unsportsmanlike. Number 15, Mississippi State. Penalty being forced 15 yards. 1st down.
And that's got to be frustrating for Dan Mullen because that's just a stupid penalty. I mean, you know the rules. You know what they're going to call. And when you get back there and you make a great play, you can't slam the football down and spike it. You got to wait till Sundays to do that.
That's a 58-yard change in field position.
It's a great punt.
Yeah, you're right. It's as if you had an incompletion on 3rd down and had your punter get off the best kick he had all year. As Mississippi State starts at their own 18-yard line. Darius Perkins breaks a tackle. 1st down run. Let's go back and take a look at the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty as Whitley gets the pick.
I'm sure he didn't like that shove there, but there was nothing wrong with that. And then here's where he got called for right there, that spike of the football. Just can't do it.
Still 1 run by Perkins, and already a 1st down for the Bulldogs at their own 29. Perkins again. This time he lost his footing. Try to cut back right, and it seemed like the turf gave way for a loss of 1. Mississippi State at 8-4. They began the year at 7-0, and they were knocking on the door to make it to the top 10. But if you look at the competition they played through their first 7 games, really, in the end, not an impressive win among the group. At the end of the season, they played Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU, and lost all of those games in lopsided fashion. So this would be their best win of the season if they could pull it off. Chad Bumpus turns the corner and picks up about 4. Jared Carpenter stayed home. Now, if they beat the 20th ranked team in the BCS in Northwestern, Danny, this would probably be the hallmark win of their season.
Oh, without a doubt. You look at their first 7 games. When they started 7-0, they got ranked to number 11th in the country. Not the most impressive of teams, not the best resume, so to speak. So definitely this could be the signature win of their season for Mississippi State.
Down by 7 and facing 3rd and 8 here. Russell under pressure. Protect the football there if you're Tyler Russell. He almost gave it away again. Tyler Scott gets the sack, but boy, was Russell really loose with the football as he was trying to hold off Tyler Scott.
Well, that's because I don't think he had any clue where Tyler Scott was coming from. He's surveying the field, and then look at Tyler Scott. Shows up right in his face. He's on him in a flash. And you're right, Bob. Tyler Russell's got to make sure that ball is wrapped up.
8th sack of the season for Tyler Scott. And nearly another turnover. We've had 6 combined between the two teams. So here's Swedenberg again to punt. And that's another NFL-looking kick. Forces another fair catch, and Venrick Mark lost the football and jumped back on top of it.
Well, Venrick Mark, All-American punt returner, struggling there. And it was something Pat Fitzgerald talked about to us, was dealing with the sun. And this team, Northwestern, has not practiced or played many games in the last couple of months where they've had to deal with this issue.
Let's take another look and see, does it look like Venrick Mark lost the football in that sunshine? It's right. Pat Fitzgerald told us that it's been, he couldn't even remember how long since the sun was an issue in any of their games. So they intentionally, in bowl practice down here, had their receivers and return men running drills where they were catching the ball with the sun in their eyes. Shovel pass. Vitale for about 1.5 yards.
Yeah, the shovel pass works good the first time, and then the defense starts to read and react to it. Northwestern ran that exact same shovel pass to Dan Vitale earlier in the first half. This time Mississippi State recognizing that coming at them and shutting it down.
That was one play back at quarterback for Kane Coulter. Now Trevor Siemian is back in the game at quarterback, and Kane Coulter will line up in the slot right. Speed handoff to Venrick Mark. Down the sideline with a first down.
Well, you talked about the speed sweep there on the outside. Venrick Mark, once he gets to the edge, he can turn that corner with the best of them. It's a 13-yard gain for Mark.
Siemian, 6 more yards. Reaching the football out to the 46-yard line was Kyle Prater. It'll be 2nd down and 4. And do you expect this to be the offense for most of the rest of the way for Northwestern? If you're Pat Fitzgerald, you try to ride the rhythm that it seems like Siemian is now in?
I think so. I think he's doing a nice job getting rid of the ball quickly. You're not going to have time to sit back there in the pocket. Plus, with Kane Coulter, he's got that right wrist, taped up. You don't know how much that's affecting his ability to throw the football.
Siemian finds in stride, crossing the middle of the field for another first down. It's Vitale. And that puts Northwestern in plus territory. Under 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
That was a nice job that time by Trevor Siemian, leading Dan Vitale kind of past the defense. Nice anticipation, floating that ball out there with a little bit of touch. And Vitale with a nice catch. Boy, I'm really impressed with this true freshman. Like we said, that's kind of been the theme, too. Northwestern had the most success, has had the most success throwing the football towards the middle of the field, not really on the outside.
Siemian well protected again, now buys himself some more time. Thought about floating it down the sideline, instead runs for a first down. Trevor Siemian doing his best Kane Coulter impersonation and picking up a little over 10 yards.
And that just shows you don't have to be a blazer, at quarterback. You just have to have a knack for eluding tacklers, and that's what Siemian's got right here. Recognizes nothing's there, gets outside of the pocket. Then the presence of mind, just right there, splitting those two Mississippi State defenders, realizing where that first down marker was and falling forward to get it.
Now it's Kane Coulter. Back in to take the snap. He thought about running the option right, cuts it back to the left, and works hard to pick up 2 yards, although Pat Fitzgerald wanted a face masking call. He is all over the officials on the far sideline. Preston Smith was there to make the stop on Kane Coulter. And boy, not only Fitzgerald, but the majority of that Northwestern sideline exploded thinking that Coulter's face mask was caught.
Kane Coulter still in at quarterback. He was taped up, took that off of his wrist. It's never easy to throw with something when your wrist is tightly wrapped.
Coulter to throw on 2nd and 8. He escapes. Mississippi State completely loses track of Kane Coulter. He's inside the 5 all the way down to the 4-yard line. I wonder if they thought Trevor Siemian was still in the game.
Boy, that is what makes Kane Coulter so tough. Watch what happens here. Northwestern is going to run several vertical routes. You get a bunch up in here. And then watch as Kane Coulter, everybody's going deep. They're running. The defenders are running with those vertical pass routes. And look at all of this room to run to. And Kane Coulter will take every bit of that, cuts it back upside into the middle of the field, almost gets it down for a touchdown. But that's what makes Kane Coulter so difficult to defend.
Coulter's back out. Siemian back in at quarterback, 1st and goal. Siemian on a keeper. Touchdown. Dan Mullen and his defense not expecting a run by Trevor Siemian. That's his first touchdown run of the season.
How tough is that to defend when you've got the dual threat quarterback and Kane Coulter, so you're harping to your defense, hey, you got to stop that run threat. And then when Trevor Siemian's in there, you're thinking, hey, let's stop the pass. But then when Trevor Siemian shows enough athleticism to take it on the ground, pretty impressive.
Nick McCall, offensive coordinator for Northwestern. He had a month to get ready. And when you have a month to get ready, why not? You're the mad scientist in the laboratory. You throw in a counter run for Trevor Siemian for a touchdown.
Trevor Siemian just going to stick that ball in the running back's belly, run that zone read. Everybody cracks down on Trumpy thinking, hey, he's got to get the ball, right? Trevor Siemian's not going to run it. Siemian keeps it himself and walks in for the easy touchdown. Here's one more look. Look at everybody's head. Everybody goes with the running back and then turns around and say, wait a second. But a pretty nice job by Siemian leaving that ball in the belly of that running back, forcing that defense to make a decision, and they made the wrong one.
Well, based on his expression there, I think he's hearing it from the coaching box a little bit. They were not expecting Trevor Siemian to carry the football there, and neither was Mississippi State paying attention to Kane Coulter on the previous play. All their heads were turned with those deep vertical routes.
Remember we talked about the importance of communication for Mississippi State defensively? That's why they need to be talking back there between each other, getting those calls in, talking about who's playing quarterback, who to watch out for. But it's got to be so tough with both of these guys shuttling in back and forth in a no-huddle offense.
Now 7 yards deep, no chance for Jamion Lewis to bring out the kickoff from Steve Flaherty. 26 seconds to go in the third quarter. That has now been owned by Northwestern. Northwestern dominated the first quarter, made it 13-0. Mississippi State came back with 10 points before halftime, and it was 13-10 at the break. Mississippi State opened up the third quarter with a field goal to tie the game at 13. But Northwestern has dominated for the most part the rest of the third quarter to take a 2-touchdown lead. How can the Bulldogs answer? Josh Robinson lowers his shoulders and picks up 5 out close to the 30-yard line. Chichi Araguzzo made the stop, and that might take us to the end of the third quarter. So Mississippi State's going to be in the same position, Danny, they were at the end of the first quarter, and that is needing a big bounce-back quarter to get back in the game.
That's exactly what happened. It's going to be a tough fourth quarter.
A 2-touchdown lead for Northwestern as we head to the fourth.
Have a good day.
Will this finally be the year, and will Jacksonville finally be the place for Northwestern to break a 64-year bowl winning drought? 1949 Rose Bowl, their one and only bowl win. But they head to the fourth quarter with a 2-touchdown lead, facing a Mississippi State team that picks up a first down on the first play of the fourth quarter. Danny Cannell, you never had to be, obviously, in this situation where you hear about the same thing over and over and over again. If you're Northwestern, all you ever hear about, 64 years since you won a bowl game. Now they have their chance. How much does that weigh on their minds in the fourth quarter?
I think it definitely comes into play. It's got to be in the back of their minds. It's got to creep in there. But I love how Pat Fitzgerald handled it with the leadership council. You know, talking to them, they didn't want any gimmicks. They said, hey, let us go out and just win.
Tyler Russell underneath the whole Mississippi State sideline looking for a flag, and Ibrahim Campbell definitely seemed to come up and hit Josh Robinson early. And it looks like the Wildcats may have gotten away with one there. It'll be 2nd down and 10 after what probably should have been a penalty.
You know, sometimes it's just that mental hurdle to get over when you're dealing with a streak like that. You know, and they can, trust me, they can taste it. They know they're 1 quarter away from breaking that streak. 64 years.
Here comes the blitz on 2nd and 10. And to the outside, Tyler Russell beats it. Arcito Clark has a first down as we check in with Allison.
This summer, the Northwestern football team spent some time at Camp Kenosha with Navy SEALs, learning mental toughness and teamwork. Well, today, they got a pretty special visit from one of those SEALs, Chief Rob Stella. He presented them with a flag that is flown in Iraq, as well as his own personal flag that he took on every single mission with him. That is the flag you see tucked in the back of Director of Football Ops Cody Shada's pants there, and it was a token of good luck for this Northwestern team. It obviously brought a lot of good fortune to Chief Stella. The hope was it would do the same for Northwestern.
That's a great story, and it has so far. See if it holds up. Tyler Russell, flush out of the pocket, wide open on the far side. He has a man, and dodging tacklers inside the 40, down about a yard and a half shy of the first down is Adrian Marcus, whose outlet receiver is a fullback, as we go back to Robert Flores.
Hey, Bob, Capital One Bowl, Georgia, Nebraska on ABC. Taylor Martinez to Rex Burkhead. Burkhead's final game at Nebraska, and he has a touchdown catch, and Nebraska has a 1-point lead on ABC, 24-23 over Georgia.
We've got good bowl games all over the place. Bouncing it left is Robinson. He's got another first down and plenty more. Down to about the 30-yard line of Northwestern. Let's take a look at today's game track, brought to you by TaxSlayer.com. It's been a back-and-forth affair. First and third quarters dominated by Northwestern. As a 2-touchdown lead, Mississippi State is looking at early fourth quarter.
How about the lack of pass yardage for Mississippi State? Tyler Russell, that rough start, still trying to shake it off. One nice touchdown pass.
Darius Perkins, brought down by Arnfeld. Gain of 1.
And looking at Northwestern, the kind of season they have had, it's pretty remarkable. They've led every game in the fourth quarter this season at some point. And it's a phenomenal year they've had. They are really close. And they had some tough losses. We covered one of them, the Nebraska, they lost by 1. They had some tight losses. I mean, this team is, a couple plays away from contending for that Big Ten championship.
Now they're lost to Nebraska and they're lost to Michigan. Both brutal losses. Flag down, and the blind side hit came. Deontay Gibson brought down Tyler Russell. We have not had many flags in today's game. It's a loss of 5 if the play stands. We'll have to check the penalty.
Must be a hands to the face, I think, possibly. One of the offensive linemen's helmet came off.
Personal foul, hands to the face. Number 67, defense.
Wow.
Number 61's helmet came off due to the foul, so he may remain in the game. First down.
That's Sean McEvely called for the personal foul.
Right in the middle of your screen. Not the most egregious of fouls. I mean, it didn't look like he was trying to rip off the helmet by any means. But still, when that helmet comes off, the official's going to call that.
So that gives the Bulldogs a first down just inside the Northwestern 15-yard line. And a little late getting into the huddle is Tyler Russell. And Mississippi State has to hustle as they get set with 10 on the play clock. Russell to throw. He'll float one into the end zone. Leaping catch made. Touchdown. Malcolm Johnson, the tight end, used all 6'2" of his leap to go up and make it a one-score game.
Malcolm Johnson lined up at the tight end position. Nice little swim move to find his way vertically down the field. And right over the back. Pretty nice there, Malcolm Johnson. A nice touch pass by Tyler Russell as well.
That's only the 9th catch this season for Malcolm Johnson, his 2nd touchdown. He was out the first 5 games of the year with an injury, but this touchdown reception for the sophomore makes it a 7-point game with 11:42 to go. Another perfect day here in Jacksonville. And a perfect pass from Tyler Russell to Malcolm Johnson to make it a 7-point game with 11:42 to go here in the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. An 8-play, 75-yard touchdown drive and a surprise onside kick. Is it recovered in bounds? It is not. Tevez Calhoun, backup cornerback, leapt up to try and pull in the surprise onside kick that was this close to being perfectly executed.
What a great design, though. The kicker puts it out there almost like he's passing it for Tevez, and that was as tight as you could get right there, but just out of bounds. And Northwestern was not expecting that at all.
That is one of those feast or famine calls.
Yep.
If it works, you're an absolute genius. If it doesn't work, it gives the opposition, who you just took a lot of momentum back from by scoring a touchdown, terrific field position. As now, Northwestern's going to start at the Mississippi State 47-yard line.
Now I want to watch Northwestern. How do they handle the lead from this point? Remember, in the second quarter, they got a little bit conservative, and Mississippi State jumped all over them. They still need to stay aggressive as an offense.
And it's Kane Coulter back at quarterback. Runs a play-action fake, looks for the home run ball, and it's knocked away incomplete. Tony Jones had a step. Darius Slay there, go to help break it up.
They didn't complete the pass. It would have been a spectacular catch, but I love the play call there. Working the field vertically. Trying to hit Tony Jones, and that's Darius Slay, the other outstanding corner across from Jonathan Banks. Great coverage and a great job of breaking that up. Jones almost made a spectacular catch.
Jonathan Banks has never been able to return from that apparent knee injury in the first half. So they're without their best defensive back, second down and 10. Now it's Trevor Siemian back in being chased. He has to throw it away. Now it'll be third down and 10. And the Rose Bowl game is on ESPN later today. Wisconsin, one more game for their senior star, Monte Ball, against that vaunted D of the Cardinal. The granddaddy of them all. The Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio. Wisconsin, number 6, Stanford. Coverage begins at 4:30 this afternoon Eastern Time on ESPN, also live on the Watch ESPN app.
Talk about a big third down for Northwestern. Here's Dan Vitale, the freshman superback. He's been a favorite target for Siemian.
Tyrus Jones motions into the backfield. Three-man rush. Siemian underneath, coming across the middle is Kyle Prater, and he gets buried after a gain of only 2. The cowbells are rattling all over the stadium here in Jacksonville as Mississippi State gets the stop on defense, coming up on 11 minutes to go. Without Jonathan Banks as the primary punt returner, it's Chad Bumpus back to about the 10-yard line to receive the kick. And he'll call immediately for a fair catch. Just across the 10. Mississippi State has the ball back in a one-possession game. Jacksonville, Florida, also known as the River City, located alongside the picturesque St. Johns River. Very close to the Atlantic Ocean, and we are inside Everbank Field. Bob Wischusen, Danny Cannell, Allison Williams, bringing you the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. And it has been a heck of a back-and-forth affair. Swing pass to Bumpus. Scoots up the sideline for about 5 yards. It'll be second down and 5. This is the worst starting field position of the day for Mississippi State, as Pat Fitzgerald's defense trying to protect a 7-point lead and end a 64-year bowl drought for Northwestern.
Mississippi State having a little bit more success through the air. Tyler Russell got a little bit more comfortable as of late.
Play action. Here comes the rush. And that forces a low throw. Incomplete. Chichi Araguzzo came unblocked and was right in the face of Tyler Russell as he tried to unload that ball.
Yeah, if you wonder why that ball was underthrown, look no further than Tyler Russell getting absolutely hammered by Chichi Araguzzo. There's the low pass. See it coming in low. Clearly hits the ground as an incomplete pass. And now on a critical third down, can Tyler Russell step up? He had such a disastrous start to the game.
Only one third down conversion all day for the Bulldogs. Russell backpedaling. Throws one up for grabs in the middle of the field. That's an easy interception. Right at the 50-yard line for Nick Van Hoos. Van Hoos inside the 15, down to the 9. There's a flag down on the play. A terrible decision by Tyler Russell. Just hoisted it. And it became basically a punt.
And not a very good one at that.
We'll have to check the penalty.
Sideline interference, Mississippi State. Penalty being forced half the distance to the goal. First down.
See Dan Mullen looking for an explanation. I think one of the Mississippi State coaches, they have to stay within a certain box on the sideline. They got out of that. They probably interfered with an official on the sideline trying to run up and down there. They have to give them their space. But still, going back to Tyler Russell, the interception, there is plenty of time left in this game to go ahead and punt it away. You don't have to force that ball up there and make that decision for his 4th interception on the day.
6 interceptions all season for Tyler Russell, and 4 today. First and goal. It's Coulter at quarterback. He motions Tony Jones. He'll run that way. Coulter with a cutback. Turns the corner. Gets to about the 3-yard line. Cameron Lawrence there first for Mississippi State. Second down and goal at the 3. Let's go back to the pick.
Here's one more look at the interception. Now Tyler Russell, he's sitting back there in the pocket. Nothing's open. Scrambles a little bit. Still, nobody's open. That is just a heave of desperation right there. That's what you do at the end of the game if there's no time left. But with this much time left in the 4th quarter, just throw it out of bounds. And now, man, Mississippi State trying to shuttle in a slew of players. They're nowhere close to getting lined up.
Northwestern got the play off. They try to pitch. Venrick Mark boots it. It's out of bounds. Well, there had to be too many men on the field for Mississippi State. That was almost a free play for Northwestern.
Well, very late. There was probably about 10 or 15 seconds left on the play clock.
I think they've got 15 players on the field.
Well, they didn't have half of them off the field yet.
I think the Bulldogs, if they didn't have 15 on the field at the snap, had 14 players on the field.
Illegal participation, 12 men on defense, Mississippi State. Penalty being forced half the distance to the goal. Second down.
I think they just said 12 to emphasize that it was more than 11. But
We'll start counting them. Watch when these guys run on late.
Here they come. Here comes 4 guys.
And only 1 or 2 come off.
Yep. And I don't even know if they got off in time.
Yeah, that's definitely too many. Now, having said that, I think what Dan Mullen was protesting was maybe saying the officials didn't give the Bulldogs a chance to substitute after Northwestern tried to substitute. So after the penalty, it's second down and goal. Coulter on a keeper. No way. Shut down at the 2-yard line. Nico Whitley made the stop. Now it's going to be third down and goal at the 2.
Well, now Mississippi State, can their defense bow up and get a stop, keep Northwestern to only a field goal? Because the way their offense has struggled here, it's going to be really tough if they fall down 14.
Huge play here on. And it's still Coulter at quarterback.
Dual threat back there with Venrick Mark next to him.
Venrick Mark right up the middle. The pile moves into the end zone. No signal yet. It is a touchdown for Northwestern. And they're back on top by 2 touchdowns.
You talk about a statement touchdown for Northwestern. Watch the movement up front by the offensive line. Wayne Charrington getting pushed back. Several guys, and then Venrick Mark takes it in. And that's a statement touchdown because this Northwestern has been reading all up to this bowl about the bigger physical SEC team that Mississippi State is. For them to go up there and handle them right there up front, pretty impressive.
So in the end, another interception and a bad decision by Tyler Russell turns into 7 for Northwestern. Eastern, we will be heading out to Pasadena, and there's the Stanford Cardinal heading into the Rose Bowl as they are preparing for their matchup with Wisconsin later on. Now, in our game here at the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl, the big silver football is going to end up possibly in the trophy case of the Northwestern Wildcats if they can hold on. They've got a 2-touchdown lead again as Venrick Mark squeezed one across the goal line from 2 yards out. Another turnover for Mississippi State by Tyler Russell becomes a touchdown for Northwestern. 17 points for the Wildcats off of turnovers. And they've got a 2-touchdown lead with 8 minutes and 10 seconds to go.
Both these coaches have done remarkable jobs at their respective programs, you know, building winning traditions. And it's kind of funny talking to them both. They're both young. They're both energetic. They both have great motivational tactics. And it's no surprise that they're friends off the field as well.
Steve Flaherty with another deep kickoff. Damian Lewis will bring this one out from about 5 yards deep. He won't even get to the 15-yard line before he's hit. The Discover Orange Bowl is on ESPN tonight. Jordan Lynch and the MAC champions Northern Illinois look to prove the doubters wrong when they take on the ACC champion Florida State Seminoles. The Discover Orange Bowl. Number 15 Northern Illinois, number 12 Florida State tonight at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. Also live on the Watch ESPN app and ESPN Radio. Tyler Russell off a play action fake. Finds a man for a first down. Chris Smith picks up about 13 yards.
Tyler Russell, you got to watch him and say, how comfortable is he in that pocket throwing the football? When you've had a game like he's had, trust me, it becomes so hard to complete even the easiest passes because it's just been one of those days.
Darius Perkins for a gain of maybe 2. Jared Carpenter came up to make the tackle.
And Mississippi State, they have to start thinking about the clock. They should be. They're kind of taking their time here, but with needing 2 scores, there's a look at Tyler Russell's numbers. That's about as rough a game as he's had all season long.
Yeah, this either has to be no huddle or at least quickly out of the huddle.
And they're not really showing a whole lot of sense of urgency right here either.
Second down and close to 9. Russell throws one off his back foot high. Is that one intercepted? No, it's incomplete. Jared Carpenter tried to scoop it up and couldn't quite get his hands under the football. That was nearly the 5th interception that Dan Mullen would have watched his quarterback throw today. And now it's 3rd down and a long 8.
And what's remarkable is you consider he's only thrown 6 interceptions all season long. To have 4. Here's one more look. And man, I tell you what, Jared Carpenter, I thought he might have had his hands underneath that football.
Pass. Previous play is under further review.
Well, they're going to check and see if that might be interception number 5.
I mean, to me, it looked like an exceptional job by Jared Carpenter, realizing he had to get both hands under that football to keep it from touching the ground. Man, I tell you, it looks like he scoops it up into his chest, but
that looks like a pick, doesn't it?
I think so too. I mean, I think there's enough. You know, is it clear enough for the replay officials to see? That's the question. But to me, it sure looked like he knew it was there, got his hands underneath it, brought it up to his body, and secured the interception.
It has to be indisputable.
Yep.
Because the ruling on the field that sets the precedent is an incomplete pass. So it has to be without a doubt an interception. And looking at the 2 replays that we just showed you that they're taking a look at the replay booth as we speak, that sure looked as if Jared Carpenter kept the ball off the turf. And if it does indeed go Northwestern's way, that would be 5 interceptions for Tyler Russell in this game after he threw 6 interceptions the whole season for Mississippi State in 12 games. He came into today with an interception to attempt ratio that was in the top 10 in SEC history for a single season.
And that's why this team has had some success.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Incomplete pass, 3rd down.
Now they're saying that it was not indisputable video evidence.
It's tough to see from the angles that we had.
That's a dodged bullet for Mississippi State, but they're still faced with 3rd down and about 9. And you wonder if they're now in 4-down territory as well. Down 2 touchdowns under 7 minutes to go. Can they afford to kick it away to Northwestern again? They'll try on 3rd down first. An underneath route and a drop. Chris Smith dropped the ball. So now what do you do if you're Dan Mullen? And he's going to punt it away and see if his defense can create a takeaway. Another terrific looking punt from Baker Swedenberg. Downed at about the 27-yard line. Northwestern 6 minutes and 43 seconds away from ending a 64-year bowl winning drought. And there's Barry Alvarez, set to be the lead man on the sidelines today for his Wisconsin Badgers, replacing Brett Bielema for the Rose Bowl game. That game's coming up. Welcome back to Jacksonville. A perfect day for football. And what a wonderful way to kick off the new year. And Happy New Year to all of you and yours. And it might be an unbelievable new year for Northwestern if they can hold on to a 2-touchdown lead with under 7 minutes to go. Benrick Mark tries a cutback on 1st down and picks up close to 5 yards.
And now Mississippi State, they have to take some chances defensively to try to force the issue. Not only have to get a stop, but they need to try to create a turnover, make sure they're stripping that football, trying to get the ball back.
Explain to me the hurry that Northwestern is in right now as Simeon throws one low. Caught by Dan Vitale. About a half-yard shy of a 1st down as we go down to Allison.
Well, guys, here's what's going on with Jonathan Banks. We saw him go into the locker room where they stitched up a cut on his left leg. Well, after doing so, they realized he also has a bruised nerve. Now, that's limited the feeling in his foot, so he can't really push off of it. Obviously, he can't play. Usually, it comes back within a few minutes. It did not for Banks. The latest is that he's starting to regain more feeling and feeling better. There's a possibility he could get back in this game, but with just 6 minutes left, it's starting to seem unlikely.
Well, Allison, it's just good news that it's not a serious knee injury.
Yeah.
The fact that he was even a possibility to get back in this game, the long term for Jonathan Banks is good news. And now Northwestern does the opposite.
Well,
a moment ago, they hustled up and ran a play with about 30 seconds on the play clock. This time they let the play clock wind all the way down and call a timeout as they picked up a 1st down. Well, this is the drought that Northwestern is trying to break. The 1949 Rose Bowl. They beat Cal 20-14. Their one and only bowl win. Our producer Bob Goodrich was the AD on that game as he kicked off his television career.
I thought he was already a few years in back then, wasn't he?
Well, the last time that Northwestern won 10 games in a season, that man was a player. Back in 1995, Pat Fitzgerald has his team on the doorstep of a 10-win season and finally, once and for all, putting the bowl drought to rest. It's been 7 bowl game losses for Northwestern since 1999. And their fans, quite frankly, are sick and tired of hearing about it. And they have a chance to put it to bed if they can hold on today.
Finally, Mississippi State getting up in there.
Simeon throws one incomplete.
We saw Mississippi State there bringing the house, trying to force the issue. Still a little bit surprised that Northwestern still throwing the football around, stopping the clock.
There's Monte Ball, 82 career touchdowns, an FBS record, looking to add to that record in his final game for the Wisconsin Badgers. The Rose Bowl game presented by Vizio. Coverage begins at 4:30 Eastern over on ESPN. We still have 5:45 to go in the fourth quarter here. A low run by Mike Trumpy as he picks up about 6 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 4, and now an absolute must for Mississippi State to get off the field on 3rd down here.
Yeah, this is the stop you have to make if you're the Bulldogs. And I think it's an opportunity for them, too, to try to create that turnover, to get a little bit more aggressive, try to get Trevor Siemian, who's now in at quarterback, try to get a sack, maybe get a blindside hit, force him into throwing an errant pass. Locked up in man coverage all across the board. That creates some issues. Getting a little bit softer here as the snap approaches.
They rush 6. Siemian looks out to the outside and finds a way to force it to Christian Jones on what was nearly a pick 6 possibility.
Oh my goodness.
How close was that to a disaster for Northwestern?
That was Matthew Wells. Watch this flat defender right there. He recognizes it perfectly, steps right underneath it, goes through his hands and into the receiver. And that could have been an unbelievable turn of events if he takes that for 6 the other way. Instead, it's a Northwestern 1st down. Boy, he will have nightmares about that.
So that allows the Wildcats to keep working on the clock. Tyrus Jones. No gain. That time Matthew Wells came up to make the tackle.
And now I think you've got to see Northwestern try to slow the pace down a little bit. They stayed in their kind of no-huddle mindset at the beginning of this drive. Now they're taking their time a little bit more. Going into that 4-minute mode where you tell guys to stay in bounds, secure that football, make sure you don't turn the ball over.
They run the option. Benrick Mark picks up about 6 yards. It'll be another 3rd down and 4 or so for Northwestern, down to 3:40 remaining. Northwestern has to hurry to get the play off, and Coulter does just that. 3rd and 5. They'll follow his blockers and come up short. About 1.5 yards shy on 3rd down. So Mississippi State does indeed force 4th down, and they will spend a timeout here to try and save some time with 2:54 to go. So Mississippi State's going to get the football back, Danny Cannell, but they, by allowing a couple of 1st downs there, really hurt themselves on the clock as they need 2 possessions. They still have 2 timeouts, and obviously the college football clock rules, the clock stopping for 1st downs, at least briefly, when you go out of bounds. And then when you get inside of the last 2 minutes, obviously it stops even more frequently. I mean, you can still put together a couple of quick strikes and have a chance, but with the way that their passing offense and Tyler Russell really struggled today, this is a tall order.
We've seen crazier things happen this bowl season.
We saw Arizona in the Gildan, New Mexico Bowl scored 2 touchdowns in 90 seconds to pull off a come-from-behind win against Nevada. Brandon Williams, hang time to the 5-yard line, and it hops into the end zone.
Brandon Williams goes into the end zone for the Bulldogs at number 25.
So now it's time to check our Capital One player of the game. And with 2:46 to go, and Northwestern up by 2 touchdowns. Our Capital One player of the game, it's kind of a group effort for the Northwestern defense.
And I think it's a perfect fitting way for this Northwestern defense to end the season. You know, we asked Pat Fitzgerald who was the MVP. He said, we don't have one on our defense. It's a solid collective effort. That's exactly what you saw today.
Tyler Russell needing 2 touchdowns. Under pressure, can't avoid the sack. Down at the 10-yard line. Tyler Scott got him again.
Just look at Northwestern defensive line. Tyler Scott coming right up the middle.
Having to go hurry up and trying a draw play on 2nd down and 20. Robinson brought down again by Scott. It'll be 3rd down and 19. Tyler Russell, long throw to the sideline, incomplete. Now it's 4th and 19.
But it's just been one of those days for Tyler Russell for Mississippi State. Started off with a rough pick 6. Kind of snowballed on him since then. It's going to be tough for him this offseason to put this game behind him, but it's got to use it as a learning experience to move on.
4th down and a mile. Russell with all day and still can't escape the rush with nowhere to go. Deontay Gibson gets the sack, and that will do it. It will once and for all come to an end for Northwestern. They won't have to hear about a 64-year bowl drought ever again. And Russell's shaken up on that sack as the entire Northwestern sideline and their fans celebrating. It's a long time coming when you're the 1949 Rose Bowl champions and you don't get another bowl win until the 2013 Gator Bowl. But that will be the case today. Northwestern will be the 2013 TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl champions.
I think it's a credit to Pat Fitzgerald, the job he's done building this program. Here's a look at the last sack by Northwestern's defense. What a great time to give them the MVP award for the game. Came up huge on that last series.
They're having some fun down there on the Northwestern sideline. And why not? That's great to see. Two good friends as head coaches, Pat Fitzgerald and Dan Mullen, from their days on the recruiting trail. And Dan Mullen opting to not use his timeouts and allow Northwestern to simply take a knee. Pat Fitzgerald not looking to run up the score either. As the clock winds down, 1 minute and 15 seconds away from making it official. Kane Coulter keeps the clock rolling. And this, Danny Cannell, is really emblematic of the way Northwestern has played all year. How many different guys could you point to, as you said, as possibly an individual player of the game? Well, Pat Fitzgerald told us to single out any individual for their defense, is probably giving that guy way too much credit. Their defense today won the game for them with takeaways, big momentum changes, and it's finally over.
They play hard, they play together, they play passionately. We've seen their fan base passionate here today. Really an impressive group that Pat Fitzgerald has put together, an impressive program as well.
A 64-year bowl drought is history. Northwestern wins it over Mississippi State. Let's go down, Allison.
Thank you very much, Coach. How does it feel to deliver Northwestern their first bowl win in 63 long years?
Well, the credit obviously goes to our young men, especially our seniors. This is the exclamation point we were looking for, and we wouldn't be here without them. We talked about in the locker room about making history at halftime and responding, and I don't know if there's been a better football team in Northwestern history with the response that we had in the second half. I want to tip my hat to Danny and his ball club. That was a heck of a football game, and we're very thankful. And we lift this up to everyone that's been before us and say thank you for all your support.
How did you guys get it done today?
Well, for the most part, when we took care of the ball, we executed, and our defense really played well. We put ourselves in some tough situations, and I'm just really excited to finally be on the field at the end of one of these bowl games. And again, the credit goes to our young men and our staff, and we're very thankful and appreciative. And it's a big win for Chicago's Big Ten team, so go Cats.
What are the emotions you're feeling right now?
I'm just ecstatic for our entire football program. This was the one last negative that we needed to erase. Our fans have been so incredibly loyal and been there and fought with us through, and this is just the beginning. On our goal board says to be champions, and this is just the beginning. And we got something special going on in Evanston. We're very thankful for it.
Thank you so much, Coach. Congrats.
Go Cats. I'm going to enjoy this. Go Cats.
He should enjoy it. Congratulations to Northwestern as they win it over the Bulldogs. 34-20 is our final. The TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl champions, the Northwestern Wildcats. Stay tuned on ESPN2 for NFL Primetime. And on ESPN3, we will have the trophy presentation live. The celebration on for the team in purple. A happy start to the new year for Northwestern. And we go back now to John Saunders.
Coach Fitzgerald's talking about being a champion. Well, if you get to be champions in the Big Ten, you get to go to the Rose Bowl. That one is coming up on ESPN. Game day gets things started at 4:30 Eastern time with the coverage, but Wisconsin facing Stanford in the granddaddy of them all. John Saunders, Mark May, and Coach Lou Holtz. Let's first go back to Northwestern because you could see the emotion in the entire team to have your first bowl victory since 1949 and to be the doormats of the Big Ten for so long and to come up with this victory.
Yeah, but let's remember this. For many years, they didn't even go to a bowl. They didn't have a chance to win. Only in recent years, and they lost many of them. But I want to congratulate Northwestern. But let's look at Mississippi State. Here's a team that was 7-0. Lost 5 of their last 6 games. The only team they beat was Arkansas. Lost to their arch rival, Ole Miss, and then get beat in a bowl game. And now that's 2 losses in a row for the SEC. Last night, Clemson did a marvelous job in beating LSU, and then tonight, Northwestern beats Mississippi State. Who would have thought it?
But Tyler Russell, the quarterback for Mississippi State, did not play well in this football game. He's 12 for 28 for 106 yards, but it's 4 interceptions. You can't turn the ball over. Both quarterbacks combined in this game had 7 interceptions. So we didn't have stellar quarterback play in this football game. But I think if you go back to Mississippi State, once you get behind and you've got a quarterback that's turning the football over, you don't have a chance to win. And bad decision making also along with that.
We've seen it before where teams that don't necessarily have a tradition of winning but bounce up. Northwestern's done it in the past before. Bounce up and look good, get their way to a Rose Bowl. Is there a reason that we can expect that this edition of Northwestern can win continuously?
I think so. I think Coach Fitzgerald does a terrific job not only recruiting his players, but developing his players. He's not going to get the same athletes you get at Ohio State or you get at Michigan or you get at Wisconsin, but he gets those athletes that he could take and put into his program and implement in certain situations where they can be successful and win games. They're not going to have those seasons where they're always winning 10 or 11 games, but this is a terrific season for them. 10 wins for Northwestern, that says a lot.
Oh, I definitely think they can be competitive and win the Big Ten. They just announced down here they raised $55 million for a football complex, new offices, etc. And not only that, the Big Ten only has 1 private school in it. That's Northwestern. Great academic school, a lot to go for it, a lot to sell on. Yeah, I definitely think they can compete.
I don't know if they compete in the Big Ten, that is saying something because the conference keeps getting stronger as well. But a great win for Northwestern, their 10th victory and their first bowl victory since 1949. So elsewhere today, as a very